Okay, what you got there?
I got you a box.
It's not what I think it is. It's pretty heavy, isn't it?
It's your favorite thing to sharpen.
Clipper blades. Clipper blades. How many's in here? Oh, some scissors too. Okay, I'll do some scissors. Whoa.
5 pairs of shears.
Groomer shears, right?
Yeah.
1, 2,
Oh, some of them are
3.
blades.
Let's see how many clipper blades.
Oh, they're all long. 9-inch Oster shear.
9-inch.
7.5-inch curved shear. 8.5-inch curved.
They just keep coming out of here. At least she packed them halfway decent.
Oh, look, she watches you on YouTube.
Oh, she watches me on YouTube. Well, maybe you'll see me do these.
I'm a home groomer and I only groom dogs part-time. I appreciate you taking your time to sharpen my tools. I have seen your YouTube videos. You are great! Explanation point. I'm going to take your classes online, but I was wondering, can I use the twice as sharp machine?
Well, we'll talk about that while I'm sharpening these.
She learned how to sharpen shears. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if she's only doing grooming shears, maybe.
And only hers.
Hey, Misty. Why didn't I wait till Monday to do this and we go early Christmas shopping?
I was already looking at Black Friday, so we're good.
Okay. All right.
Let's go.
This will be on Monday when I come back in. Have a happy weekend. It's Monday morning, and I'm back, and I have 5 clipper blades to sharpen. I'm doing a few things different than I've done on previous videos and what I've done before. I'm constantly learning. I just came back from the sharpening convention in New Orleans, and he was doing a lot of things different than the way I do it. I try to stay with all the same methods as the Edge Pro does, because that's where we get our machines, and I invite them when they come to the Sharpeners Jam. And I know they have been at all the factories and learned from them. But there's some things that I've modified for me, just because I don't do as many clipper blades, and I have very weak arthritic hands. So one of the things I'm doing that I haven't done in the past, and I think it's going to speed up my work, is I'm going to check the tension on everything before I start. So I'm getting a block, and this is my little blade scale. And see, that one's loose, so I know I need to tighten that one. Let's see this one. That one's tight, so I'm going to leave it alone. So I'll put this up here, this down here. And I think this will make, I mean, some of these may feel tight because they're just dirty, so I'm, you know, we'll see. This may not be the best method, but that one's right on the money. But I do have a way now of tightening them with them together. Let's do that again. I was talking, wasn't paying attention. That's a little loose. So these 2 are loose, and these 3 are okay. And I've got these in order of size. So these, the ones that are the lower numbers, because groomer's blades are the opposite of barber blades. So these are groomer blades. So ones that are lower numbers, I have them in numerical order so that when I test them, when I test the hair with this one, I can still test the same hair with that one. Does that make sense? So now I'm going to take them apart. Something else I'm going to do. They were using this at the convention, and I was like, well, I'm crazy not to use it, because my hands are already sore. So this is a little block. Gee, I've tried to make these. I don't even know where this came from. I had a guy that worked for me at one time, and he bought this at some sharpening convention. Maybe I won't use the electric screwdriver. You see, that's my problem. I can't press in there hard enough, or it's the wrong size bit. Let me get another bit. Now you see one of the reasons I've been using the manual screwdriver. Let's see, this is a bigger bit. No. Some of you that watch that use these all the time, give me a hint. So that's the end of that one. I'm going back to my regular screwdriver. I think. I can't turn that one. Okay, that one came loose. And one of the things I learned from Jim Turner is sometimes you can loosen them with that piece out. There we go. That worked. And this is one I need to tighten. So I'm checking the guide. This takes so little time. There's no reason not to do that, to check the little ears, as some people call it. This is the spring, and I'm giving it a little squeeze. Now, before I put these in the bucket and cleaned them too, I think we're going to be fine without cleaning them. So that's one thing I've done different. I'm checking this for any broken, and there's nothing broken. Now these little ceramic things, you could literally just clean them off and maybe sharpen them every other time. I'm still putting my little yellow dot of polish inside here. So I've done these. And that one's ready to go. So I've decided not to use the battery screwdriver. Going back to manual. You know, it's good to try things, and that just because it works for everybody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And maybe it's good to try it more than once, because obviously they have some reason they do it. But that looks in good shape. Once again, I've got the ceramic and I'm looking close. That looks pristine. I'm not even going to sharpen these. If I was going to sharpen them, I'd do on that diamond hone. But I think I'm going to be fine without sharpening. Now, I don't need to adjust that spring. Remember, it was tight. Checking this. That looks good. And I don't need to tighten that spring. So I'm going to quit talking. I'm just going to fly through these. Wish I could really do it as fast as it looks like. So now I'm on to my last one, and this one I'm going to tighten. I have an air compressor here, but I've been using this little battery one. It's not as strong an air, but I'm drying my nail polish. It doesn't go off and scare me. So now I'm going to charge my plate. I don't know when it was charged last, but let's go ahead and do it. So I do this a little different than the Edge Pro does. Mine needs to be vacuumed. It's really dirty, but And I don't know when it was charged last, so I'm going to go through this whole charge. And I usually charge it after about 6 blades or when the sparks aren't good. So this is H42. This is what I cleaned the plate off with. I'm spraying it onto my cloth, but I might spray some on the plate too. It really doesn't matter whether it's on your paper or on the plate. A lot of grit on here, so it may not have needed charging. So my first wipe is all over to kind of get that H42 all over the plate. And you see how dirty this looks. So I'm going to flip it over. And this is also taking out that excess oil from the H42. I'm kind of wiping this off too. Charging the plate was something, should be easy. Everybody makes it look easy. And it seems like in the beginning I overcomplicated it. It was too hard to either get not enough oil or too much. Now if you buy a new machine, they have the H42. You see how much there is there. So I'm flipping it again. And they mix the H42 with the lard oil. Now I've learned from the Edge Pro, now see it's not quite as dirty. It's still dirty, but I don't have to have it perfect. So I use the pure lard oil, and I don't know if you can see this in the video. Bring it a little closer. It's separated. It's like 2 different colors. I've got this in a alcohol bottle. I wanted something clear and something I could just drop some on here. So I'm going to drop, I'm shaking it up first. Good shaking. The lard oil over the spray, it seems to hold the grit on better. This is like the glue to hold the grit. So I'm putting what amounts to maybe a tablespoon. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 little drips on here. And this is something new I've done. This works well with me. Is I'll get either a vinyl glove or something like this, and I'll use this instead of the paintbrush to move the oil through. I usually I don't even bother to put it on. I'm just using this to smear it on. If you're using a paper towel, if you're using one of those paintbrush sponges, more of it gets on the paintbrush sponge than gets on the plate. So using plastic, first I used a piece of cellophane, and then these gloves are just easier to put my hands in. And I'm just getting it smeared all over good. The best way to describe this is like if you've made a cake and you put flour on the bottom of the cake, it's the same type of thing. You oil it all over, then you put the flour on. Now I'm using 180 instead of the 240. I'm getting better results with the 180. Yeah, phone's ringing, people here, it's Monday morning. So I'm being pretty generous with this because grit is inexpensive, and not using enough grit can affect your plate. You're going to have to resurface it, and that is expensive. I still use the paintbrush. I think Edge Pro goes right into rubbing this in, but I like the paintbrush to smear it around. It kind of tells me whether I've got it good here. And you can, I don't know if you can see it here, but it sort of changes color when I mix it in with the oil. Now I've used the word charge, C-H-A-R-G-E, to remember all the steps. I need little tricks to help my memory. And the C stands for clean, which I did. H stands for hog lard. A stands for apply the grit, which we just did. Now the R is for rubbing it in. And I usually start in the center, work my way around. And I'm rubbing it in. So it should have a nice, even gray color if I've got the grit on here right. I'm sure people have different techniques for doing this. This works for me. So it looks good. And then the G in the word charge is to put my guide up here. I used to use a laser. Now I like the string. And I'm going to make it just not right diagonal from corner to corner, although I could, but I like to have it just a tad in the front so that my finger can actually touch the string and I'll be right on the money. And I take my time making sure that guide is right. This is some of the testing string I'm using for this. I probably need to get me some more strings. This is about ready to break on me. But I'm double checking, making sure this looks right. That looks right. So the G was guide, E is energize. I'm going to turn it on, and I go full speed on everything. I've got several different clamps on here on the side. This is my favorite one. It may not be your favorite. This works for me because I have arthritis and this holds them better. Your idea is that you want to be putting your pressure over this front guide here. So for me, this works. You could also turn it this way, and actually I think that's going to be the best way to turn it. So that's how I'm holding it. Do you see that? I'm landing in the middle. Slightly back. And I'm looking at the spark pattern. I had a nice even spark pattern. But this doesn't look good. Turn this off. Bigger magnet. Sliding on me. Still doesn't look good. I'll show you what I'm looking at. See? See how that looks? That's what I'm looking for. Nice lines up and down. I'm going to go back to my smaller one. Did you notice that I'm crossing over the center line and over the outside? This keeps my plate from wearing down and becoming buckled over time. But I always land all the way on the plate and always take off all the way on the plate. That looks good. And wear a mask when you're doing this. So now I'm going to demagnetize them and brush them off and clean them. So demagnetizing, I'm using this instead. I've got one of those big demagnetizers, but I like this. It doesn't make any noise. Do they need demagnetizing? I think so. You see how that picked up that screw there? So mine are magnetized. I don't know. I've seen other people sharpen and their blades don't get magnetized, and I'm not really sure why or why not, but mine need demagnetizing. So I'm going to, after demagnetizing, I'm going to brush them off, and I'm going to clean them up. And I'm putting them in little cups in order that I set them out here. And I have over here an ultrasonic cleaner. Can you see it here? Got it Harbor Freight, I think, or someplace like that. And I've tried a lot of different chemicals. And I'm trying to be a little bit more organized. I cleaned up my my training room. kind of dander between the blades on this one. On the dog. Don't need to put more oil on my brush. It's got a good bit of oil from that first one. Put my guide on. It's falling off. I used to wash all these little parts too, which I guess it's not a bad thing to do, but it was just that much more to dry off. On the money. Check it again after you tighten it, because sometimes it'll move. And this one did. That one's done. This has got that dander between the blades too. Looks like human dandruff. A little bit more oil on my brush. This is already together. Put that here. You want to try to get the moisture off of the blades, because when you put them back in a little plastic bag to send them back, they can rust. So you don't want that. Finger tight. Forget how that felt. Now normally I test on the string and then I go to the fur. I'm just going to go to the fur today. I think that'll be faster because I've got the scissors to sharpen, the groomer scissors to sharpen. That might be another video. That one's off a little bit. So you're asking about this. That's made with clay, and you get a clipper blade set the way you want it. You form the clay, make a little block for it. It's a DIY thing. I'll at our Sharpeners Jam a few years ago, there was a lady from Australia that made something like this, and it really speeded up her work. We've had a lot of different ideas on easier way to put clipper blades together, but this has worked better. Now this one is a 40. So on the 40s, I run my finger across here. If it is really sharp, I'm going to buff it down a little bit, maybe run it across my diamond plate or some other kind of ceramic thing, or even on my Cymac, because I don't want that too sharp. But this one's not too sharp. After it's been sharpened a lot of times, these are all in good shape. Maybe the first time any of them that sharpen. So let's test it. So it's time to test the blades. Like it's cutting pretty good to me. Even going against the grain, look. So that one's done. I give it another blow off. Number 2, clipper on. I count a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to with the grain. That's good. Going against the grain, look at that. And I didn't sharpen the ceramic blade, and it came out fine. Don't think you need to sharpen them every time. Because the idea about the ceramic is that it's harder than the steel, so it's not the one that dulls out. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Seems to be cutting good. Go against the grain. I think she should be pretty happy with that. You know what I could do to speed things up? I could put this in here, turn that on while I'm blowing this one out. And I'm not rechecking the tension if they're cutting good. I'm going to try to save myself a little time. Okay. Whoa. That one cuts nice. Look at that. Oh, got to turn it on. I'm going to blow this out. Beautiful. Right down to the bottom. So these blades are going to go back in the little bag we sent to her, and they're going to go back to the customer, and now I need to start on her shears. Do want to mention, I think if you're into doing clipper blade sharpening, and this is sort of new for you, this is the video I would recommend to watch next.